If you're interested in learning how to build projects on the blockchain, this video is going to go over some of the best resources for you to get started with. Now, we've been tracking some of my own progress with building the fund distributing contracts that we'll be using for deal acquisition along the lines of real estate and businesses. But regardless of whether you're looking to build a DeFi project or just build a simple meme token, there's a framework that you can utilize going into building any projects. And I'm going to lay out some of the resources that I found useful for understanding the underlying skill sets needed to bring a project from the idea to completion. So without further ado, let's go over the first set of resources. So after you've decided you want to build something on the blockchain, there's three core fundamental features you're going to need to take account of to be able to ensure you can successfully build out your project. Now, the first is going to be the smart contract, and this is going to allow your project to do whatever you intend for it to do on the blockchain. So this is a technological aspect of it. The second is going to be the awareness. This is going to be where you get the funding after you've built out your project and successfully deployed it on the blockchain. People are going to need to know about it to be able to invest in it, to be able to buy into it. Whatever you have it set up to do, making sure that your target audience knows that you exist and what you exist to perform is going to be important. Now, the third feature is what connects the two, the smart contract to the target market, and that's going to be the front end interface. So this is going to be where people go to interact with your smart contract, and you're going to want this to be a place that makes it very easy for people to utilize the functionality that your smart contract is derived from. So while you can obviously incorporate artwork, community aspects into things, the three main pieces you need to have are the smart contract, the front end interface, and a way to increase awareness. So going through these order of operations, the first thing that you're going to need to work on is obviously the smart contract. People are going to want to see that you've actually worked on building something before they start putting money towards it. So one of the best resources that you can utilize for getting a good understanding of how you can use smart contracts and decentralized applications is going to be a playlist created by the New Boston. It's just called Ethereum Tutorials, and there's 11 videos on here that walk you through the fundamentals of how Ethereum works, as well as how to get started in the process of writing the smart contracts and deploying it onto the blockchain. So the New Boston, while it's not specifically dedicated towards building things on the blockchain, it is going to be more so a general resource for learning how to utilize things online. It is a really good resource for, like I said, getting a good overview as far as how you can utilize the blockchain and different things you can build on it to achieve certain goals. Now, after you've gone through the playlist and you're starting to come up with the concepts that you're wanting to build on, you're then going to start with Remix. At least this is the direction that I've started with. Now, I had used ChatGPT to start going into immediately coding, but there is something in Remix that's called the Cookbook. And this is essentially a library that has various contracts that people have already built. And I believe they're tested as well. I guess they'll have the audited mark if they have been, but essentially these are contracts that are available for people to utilize and build their own projects with. So this is a great resource. And honestly, we probably should just take a day to go through these because I'm sure there are contracts that could have use cases for some of the stuff that we're looking into putting together. But nonetheless, this is a great place to start if you're wanting to look at some of the previous contracts that have already been put together and experiment around with them before building your own from scratch. Now, while I was utilizing Remix and ChatGPT, I noticed when we were building a contract, we imported contracts from something called OpenZeppelin. Now, OpenZeppelin is actually another resource that, again, has a library that you can utilize to interact with and pull other contracts that you can use for your own projects. So again, this is another resource that I have not fully gone through, but I know it's something that I honestly should, given we've already incorporated elements from this organization into the contracts that we've been working on so far. Now, some people are great at learning from reading, from watching, but some people like listening better when it comes to learning. And so there's several great resources you can use on YouTube for helping you on your journey with putting together your smart contracts. The first that I found and really liked was someone called Tech with Tim. Now, Tech with Tim, again, it's not a channel specifically dedicated towards blockchain development, but he does have several great resources on his channel as far as learning how to start off with Solidity and getting a good framework and baseline understanding of some of the core functions, elements, and different things we'll utilize when putting together smart contracts. Now, a channel that I came across more recently was Third Web. And Third Web happens to be a channel that is specifically dedicated towards blockchain development. And so I've been going through a couple of these videos today for understanding how to put together our front end interface. And honestly, I really like the channel. I think this is the lead guy. He has most of the videos on here, but he seems like a good dude, quality dude. And he's put out a lot of value for people to be able to learn from his own expertise. So again, this is just an overview of the channel that shows you how to work with smart contracts while it's building the infrastructure, payments. And I mean, you guys can read, the rest is there. So these are, again, great resources for the starting phase when you're working on building the smart contract, as well as Third Web. I think this will be a good resource for utilizing for building the front end interface. Now, the third core pillar when it comes to putting together projects is going to be the awareness side of things. And while we're not yet finished with the first two pieces of the puzzle, this is something that we are going to be taking more and more account of as we get closer and closer to having a finished product. Leon Abode has been the main guy that I've looked at as far as marketing and building awareness. I chose the word awareness rather than marketing, however, just given depending on what you're intending to use your smart contracts for. You might not need to focus on marketing if you're only intending to have, 3, 4, 5 people buy into a specific contract for a certain use case. So none of the matter, if you are looking to build awareness on a larger scale, to build a following and to be able to sell out larger projects, Leon's a great resource for understanding different elements that go into the process of creating attention and building excitement around a project. He's worked with several projects as well as working throughout the major drought that we experienced over the last couple of years within the NFT space, the bear market. And you guys can see through his channel, he's posted content throughout the time. This is popular, but if you go to the latest, it's taken like 10 years to load. But nonetheless, you can go through his channel and you'll be able to see that regardless of how the market was doing in the crypto space, he's been posting very consistently and putting out constant value for people who are looking to learn. So he's a really good resource as far as, like I mentioned, getting a good understanding as to how to build awareness for a project, especially for the larger scale collections that we started to see starting to come back onto the marketplace. So he will for sure be a resource that we lean into more as we get towards the end product with our front end and we start looking to expand our reach and networking with people who will be buying into the projects that we create. So with this video, those are a few resources you can utilize to start getting a good foundation and the 3 core elements that you're going to need to be able to use to successfully launch an NFT project. So if you got value from this video, make sure to subscribe and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.